The Council on Foreign Relations has a new interactive game called Convene the Council. It has students assume the role of the president and offers them different foreign policy scenarios. Caroline Netchvolodoff is the Vice President of Education at the Council on Foreign Relations. Caroline, welcome to the program.
Well, thank you for having me. I look forward to talking about Convene the Council.
All right, so describe the game for us and who the intended audience is.
Sure. The game is a video game. It's interactive. The intended audience is students between middle school and upper high school. But the fact is it's appropriate for their parents and for all of us as well. But that's the sweet spot, anyone 12 and up.
And tell me about the game itself.
The game is it is a foreign policy game intended to help students understand how foreign policy is made in the United States, how the president hears from his advisors about any given issue, whether it's a refugee issue, open conflict, climate change, a global health crisis. And it walks students through the very complicated set of inputs and considerations that the president has to make in addressing any issue that might be on the table, and which happens to be many issues on any given day. So it's not as if the president is focusing only on Ukraine or only on climate change. It's every day. It's a triaging event for the president of the United States.
Are there right answers and wrong answers in the game? Because in real life, it's usually not that clear.
What a great question. No, it's very rare that there's a right or wrong answer. And we do teach students that is the case in this game. As we know, foreign policy issues are quite complicated, and the word messy is a little bit casual to describe an extreme foreign policy crisis, but they're all complicated. And so the president draws on his advisors on the National Security Council. Convene the Council puts students in the role of the president, and then avatars play the role of his advisors, whether it's the Secretary of Defense, the Secretary of Treasury, Energy, and so forth. And each of those advisors brings his or her own agenda to the table in advising the president. So you can imagine that the Secretary of Defense has a different set of priorities and a different agenda than, for instance, the Secretary of the Treasury or the Secretary of Energy. So the hope is that in having a body of individuals who are thinking about any given issue from a different perspective, the president will draw on expertise from different areas in helping educate him about the situation on the ground and lead him to the best decision or I should say, lead him or her to the best decision that he or she can make in thinking about a decision, a specific decision or a proactive decision, like what to do about climate change, what should our policy be, or it could be what happened in Ukraine today and what do we do about this? How do we rally our allies? What are the best decisions? And as you pointed out, there is no answer.
And Caroline, what's the ultimate objective of the game, and how does that fit into your mission at the Council on Foreign Affairs?
Thanks
Foreign
for
Relations,
asking.
sorry.
No, it's the Council on Foreign Relations, but we deal with foreign affairs. The mission of the education effort at the Council is to help educate and inform non-experts about the world and what's going on in it and what the United States' role in the world is. We also try to inform students and the interested public about the relationship between domestic and foreign policy, because that's often lost in the discussion. They're very much related. So, for instance, when you're making decisions about what to do in terms of sanctions with Russia, that has huge implications, as we all know, on consumer prices, on availability of goods. And so they're interrelated. And it's a very complicated interweaving of foreign and domestic issues. So what we are trying to do with not just Convene the Council, but with our two other products, which are World 101 and Model Diplomacy, is we're trying to build a more informed public, a more globally literate public, if you will. And we consider our body of work, so Convene the Council is the entry point for students as young as middle school. And then we have World 101, which is it's a multimedia, it's a course that is divided into 5 units. Each unit is divided into modules, and we teach about global era issues, regions of the world, the building blocks of foreign policy, foreign affairs, which are topics like sovereignty and nationalism. We have a very important, I would say, unit on history, modern history. How did we get where we are today? And then the final unit is on the tools and approaches of foreign policy and the making of U.S. foreign policy. So through this interactive platform, again, which is filled with videos, charts, graphs, maps, we try to teach through accessible content, stories, if you will, how the world works. So in order to explain a global supply chain, we trace the path of a Converse sneaker, something that we all think of as an all-American product. In its how it's created. So the laces may come from one part of the world, the rubber from another part. And so using these stories that students in particular can relate to, we try to engage them and teach about how all of this fits together. And in the end, to answer your question very precisely, we're helping to build, I hope, a more informed citizenry who can choose the right, choose the candidate for public office, whether it be a local office or the president, who shares their values, who will vote in a way that they support. It helps raise the level of conversation amongst citizens, and it prepares them for any job they might do, whether it's as a teacher or a journalist or a nanny or a housekeeper. It really, the content that we've created is intended for anyone, because as we know, we all need access to accurate information.
All right. Well, Caroline,
Yeah.
Caroline, we'll leave it at that. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on any future Government Matters interviews.